This is Darth Destructoid, and I'm going to be playing Fallout 1. Now, this is the episode, Journey to Necropolis. And now, we must go into the sewers. This town is known as Necropolis, and Necropolis is the city of the dead. And actually, this place was once a living place, and it didn't have ghouls everywhere. The ghouls were actually humans, but somehow there was a perilous event that happened, and they were living in a vault, and all of a sudden, their vault was filled with radiation. They couldn't close their vault in time. So, what happened was they all turned into ghouls, and then they started populating this area. And the reason why they call this the City of the Dead is because, as you know, the ghouls look undead. Ghouls are pretty crazy looking in this game. Like, they look green and their skin is falling off, like they have pieces missing on their face and stuff like that. And we can meet a ghoul later on in the game. His name, I don't remember his name, but we'll meet him. He's a pretty cool character, and he actually shows up in another Fallout 3 to be exact. And yes, this place is where the water purification chip is. This is why I had to come all the way over here to just get that chip. It is a pretty confusing place because you need to journey into a lot of different places other than the city of Necropolis. There is a lot of hidden areas you have to go to, like for this sewer, for example. You have to go down here, and this is the first area you need to go to, and it is filled with mole rats to the brim. There's mole rats everywhere down here, so it's best to be careful, and it's best to have strong weapons. And as you can see, I have gotten strong weapons and strong armor, to be exact. I have metal armor on, and I'm using a combat shotgun. And I can show you in another video how to upgrade all your armor, your weapons, everything so quick and so easy. It is a breeze to get all this stuff. What I did is I went to different towns and I just stole stuff from people. You know, they could be carrying a weapon, they could be carrying caps, they could be carrying ammo. You never know what they could be carrying, but you have to be careful. And I'll show you exactly how to do it. There is actually a merchant in the hub that has an unlimited supply of caps, and you can take his money however you may please. But there's a trick to it, and I can show you in another video how to do that. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of dead bodies down here. It's because all those mole rats were attacking the ghouls. So, they're battling it out with each other, and it was to the death. Wait, don't shoot! Thank you for not shooting first. Can I help you with anything? Yes, I'm looking for water. The surface of Necropolis and the water is controlled by Set and his ghouls. We are a much more peaceful group which discuss Set. Who is Set? Set is a ghoul like us, but has assumed a certain amount of power in the above ground. He is an oaf. Why does he let you survive down here? He does not speak of it. However, Set is afraid of not having enough people to defend Necropolis if it ever needed it, so he gives us the water we need. I am looking for a water chip to give to my people the water they need. Do you know where I might find one? Since our water pumps stopped working, we have been getting our water from a place under the ground. I have heard that a water computer is being used to purify that water. Thanks. So now we are on the quest to get the water purification chip. What he just told us is that we need to find that chip in a water purifying computer, and I know exactly where to find it. But first, we need to fight a few rats. Now, there is ghouls under the sewers, but these ghouls do not agree with the ghouls above the sewers, so they're down here. So the reasoning why is because they've had troubles with each other. It discussed set that they're peaceful ghouls, and not every ghoul is peaceful, you know? So he is not very happy with these ghouls down here, but they're actually cool ghouls, you know? He told us where to get the water purification chip, and he helped us out, so that's good. And there is also another quest that you can do while you're here, is that you can actually fix the water pump. There's a water pump above here, and actually it's broken, and I know exactly where to find the part 2. It's pretty easy to find, and the enemies down there aren't too hard as long as you have armor and a good weapon. Let's just get rid of all these rats. Get as much experience points as possible, man. I don't need to go this way, but I want to kill every living thing down here. Besides those ghouls. Those ghouls are my homies, and they are really cool, so I'm down to just let them live. But look at all those bones and all those dead bodies that those mole rats have accumulated. They are obviously very deadly creatures. And if you have only the vault suit to wear, they can actually do some pretty fierce damage to you. I'm not even joking. Like, they can actually hurt you pretty bad. So it's good to wear armor all the time. And the armor that I'm wearing is metal armor. Metal armor is probably about a little above the middle in the armor classes. It's pretty good, but it's not the best, you know? Metal armor is not the most expensive either. It's pretty nice. I really like metal armor a lot. It's probably one of the best armors in the game. So I bought it, and it was probably about 2,000 caps to buy that armor. But, you know, you gotta get what you gotta get. And now all those mole rats are dead. So let's move on. Let's see what's on these dead bodies here. See if we can get any loot. You never know what you can find. And I believe that I might be able to find something. And look, we found a plasma pistol. That's pretty cool. Plasma pistols are pretty powerful. There's also a laser pistol, and that's the second most powerful pistol that you can get. But they use a different ammo than the laser rifle and the late plasma caster. So they use E-cells, so it's pretty rare to come across those. Unless you know where to go, and that is the gun runners. The gun runners is the best place to go to get weapons, and that's exactly where I went to get my weapons. So now we're above here in this house, and that was actually the wrong place to go. So let's go on ahead to the next part of the sewers, and let's see what's before us. And it's actually a ladder. And that ladder leads to above the ground. So let's go up the ladder and see what's on ahead. And as you can see, we ended up above ground, and we are now to the next part. And as you can see, there is a broken car right there, as in, we can't drive those cars. They are undrivable cars. They are mostly all broken. Except, there might be a little surprise with cars in Fallout 2. And as you can see, that's a super mutant.
Hey, you not look like ghoul. How come?
But I am a ghoul.
Okay.
And as you can
Move
see,
along, then.
this place is full of super mutants. And Set has been playing along with them all along. The super mutants had come to dominate this area, and they have come to take control over the ghouls, so they can do whatever they want with the water purification devices. So, that is what a ghoul looks like. Green skin, muscle, and all the rest. Super mutants in Fallout 3, they look yellow, and they look buff, you know? But in Fallout 1, they look kind of different. They don't look the same. So, now there's glowing ones trying to attack us. There's glowing ghouls, and there is also the ghouls that are just regular, you know? So let's pull out our shotgun and let's shoot these ghouls to death. And as you can see, we are right before one of the very vaults. As I said before, it is Vault 12, and there were dwellers living in this vault. But that is where the water purification device is, inside this vault. So let's continue on our quest to find the water purification chip, now that those ghouls are dead. And those ghouls didn't give us much trouble. They're not that powerful, and all they can do is hit us. So it's not much of a problem. Yeah, most of these ghouls don't even have weapons. They probably have knives, and they have, like, blunt weapons, but they don't have any guns. And it's quite different in some other Fallouts, and you'll see later on in my playthroughs how they look and how they have weapons. But in this one, they don't exactly have weapons. Ghouls just have knives. They have a few weapons, but not very powerful ones. So it's nothing to worry about. And this is the vault. As you can see, this is what it looks like. It is rusted up, and it is just like full of ghouls everywhere. And as you can see, these ghouls are just hanging out, just talking or something. And they're not attacking me, so I'm not going to attack them back. As long as they don't attack me, I won't do anything to them. And let's see if we can find anything here. I don't really see anything in the containers or anything like that, so let's move on. Let's go down to level 3. And this is where you find the water purification chip. And there are some lockers there. Usually in vaults, the lockers is where you find items. But as you can see, there's no items here, so we won't grab anything there. But it's worth it to look. You never know if you can find anything. And as you can see, there is a dead wastelander right there around the ghouls. You can see that these ghouls do not mess around. They are very deadly, and they like to fight anyone who stands in their way. And let's get the water purification chip, and we leveled up because of that. So that is awesome, and let's continue on. So now I'm going to get another perk, and I'm going to choose Strong Back. That's what I'm going to choose because it puts up your level of carrying items. It's in the newer Fallouts too, so I'm sure you know what it does. And every perk has a different purpose. And they have different perks on this than the newer Fallouts, say, too. So that's always nice to have a little bit of a difference. And I put my points in, so let's continue on. And let's go on this quest. Now the ghouls notice that we took their chip. So now they're going to try and attack us. So let's fight back. And I'm going to pull out my assault rifle. It's pretty crazy to shoot an assault rifle. See, we blew him into bits. That's pretty crazy. That's a crazy death animation right there that showed to us. And now this one is coming towards us. So now let's pull out the shotgun and let's take care of the rest of the ghouls. He's a pretty tough ghoul. I've already shot him twice. Now it is pretty cool how these ghouls actually glow from the radiation that they've been, taking. They've been around so much radiation that they glow. I wonder if that's actually possible in the real world. Like, could it be possible for someone to glow if they've contracted enough radiation? I don't think that's very possible in the real world. I've never heard of it, but that's pretty cool how in the Fallout universe things glow whenever they contract so much radiation that they're actually, green or whatever color the radiation is. It's pretty cool. And he has no items, so let's move on. And we finally got the water purification chip. So that is awesome. And we can move on to the next quest. Now, the next quest here that I'm gonna complete is I want to get the junk there's actually some junk down below the sewers in a different place than we went, and it has a water purification device which actually fixes their pump, and we get 1,000 experience points just for completing that quest. So I'd like to complete that quest, and I'd like to get that pump working. Yeah, and the only thing we have to worry about when going down there to fix the water purification pump is a bunch of mole rats. That's all we have to deal with, so it's not that big of a problem. And as you can see, we tricked the super mutant boss here. We tricked him into thinking that we were actually a ghoul. And you know why? It's because we said that one key phrase, and I always say it. The reason I say it is because you can just pass him without being attacked. If you get that speak check wrong, then he will attack you and he will try and shoot you to death. And he is carrying a laser rifle, so it's always best to be very careful when dealing with these super mutants. They could really mess you up if you're not careful. They have flamethrowers, they have heavy weapons, they have miniguns, they have all kinds of stuff in their arsenal. So you always have to be careful around super mutants. And it's, hard at this early of a stage in the game to fight super mutants. So I don't usually fight the super mutants. I just kind of let them do their own thing since I tricked them, and I just kind of move on with all of the quests. But yeah, there is also an alternate ending that you get when you tell him that you want to see his boss, which is actually one of the most powerful super mutants ever. You talk to him and you actually die at his hands. He takes you to his base and he kills you right there on the spot. He asks you where your vault is, and if you tell him that your vault is located where it is, he'll go to your vault and he'll kill all of your people if you tell him. But if you don't tell him, he'll just kill you. But if you tell him, he turns you into a super mutant. Isn't that crazy to turn into a super mutant? And the way they do it is amazing. They put you in a vat of goo and they actually submerge you in it, and they turn you into a super mutant per se. And there's actually a story in this game that a ghoul tells you about how a man turned into a super mutant. It's a pretty interesting story, and I'll get to it later on in the game. But for now, those are super mutants, and they're crazy. I will come back here, and I will plan to do something about that super mutant problem. But we'll wait for that for another episode. But for now, we just have to clear out this entire area of every enemy possible. And the junk that we need to find is actually right here. It's right here in this area, and we just need to pick it up. But we just need to get rid of all of these. He actually threw me down. They can actually do that to you sometimes. The enemies can push you over, and it's pretty crazy when they do it, but he didn't do that much damage because I have the armor, of course. But anyways, let's move on, and let's get to the next part of the level. Now, mole rats in Fallout 1, they don't really look like the mole rats in the other Fallouts. The mole rats in the other Fallouts kind of look like skinless rats. But in this Fallout, they're actually hairy, and they look like bears almost. They're like so big that they've turned into bears. Isn't that pretty crazy how a little tiny mole rat could grow to that size? But in the Fallout universe, everything grows from radiation except for the humans. Isn't that weird how animals grow from it, but the humans don't? That is very odd. I think it's very crazy how much of a difference that is. But that's the way the Fallout universe is. And Fallout wasn't actually the first post-apocalyptic game. Fallout was the second one. And the first one was known as Wasteland. It was an older game. I'm not sure if it was for the NES or PC. It might have been for either one of those, but that game was the original role-playing game that was about, wastelands and post-apocalyptia. So that game was the first one to debut that, and the developers who made Fallout actually wanted to work on the next Wasteland game, but they weren't given the go to make it, so therefore they couldn't make it, and they had to make Fallout. And I'm glad they made Fallout, because Fallout has become an awesome, amazing franchise that I have played every game to it. I've played Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, all of them. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout is just an awesome series of games. But Wasteland is pretty cool too. I've seen some gameplay to that, and it's pretty awesome. But that's awesome how Fallout has had, influences from that game. And that game is pretty interesting. And now let's grab the junk. The junk is right there. And you go up to the ladder, and I'll show you exactly where to go to fix this water pump. So first you have to go up, and you have to go back inside this area, and after you pass this guy, the water purification pump is right there. I'm clicking on it right now, and you go into your inventory and you click on the junk that you picked up. It'll be titled junk, and all you do is you just try and fix it by adding it in. You can use your repair skill, but I don't think that would work as good as putting the junk, so it's better just adding the junk to the machine rather than actually trying to repair it with your skill, because if you don't have a good repair skill, it takes forever to repair anything in this game. So it's good to always use that junk and just add it to the machine. You earn 1,000 experience points for fixing the water pump. See? We fixed it, and now that is everything for Necropolis. This is Darth Destructoid, and I was so happy playing Fallout today, and I'll see you guys next time.